Today is about a poem, and that means that we're using a language against which we, as humans, do not have defenses. Bold sentence, isn't it? Well, it's at least what poet David Whyte claims. What was it again? Poetry, a language against which we do not have defenses? Well, we shall see if that holds true with the poem that I would like to bring to you today. Maybe you already know it, and maybe it will bring down your defenses. But we'll see. And with that, hello everybody, welcome, welcome, welcome. I'm Katrin, and you are listening to Read and Rise, the spiritual book club that brings to you the most interesting and inspiring spiritual books. So, what's wrong today, apart from looking at a poem? Why is this episode in English? Well, okay, let me take you with me. I'm thinking of making this podcast available to more people, and quite naturally that would be in English. But please let me know, what do you think about it? Let me know what you think about having this podcast in English. I've thought that I would experiment a bit. So there will be a couple of episodes in English. There will be some episodes in German in the time to come. That said, let's go to the poem. And as I said, I would love to introduce you to a poem which I like a lot. And maybe you know it because it's famous. Or maybe you don't know it because it's been out there over 25 years and might have been a bit forgotten. The poem's title is The Invitation, and it has been written by Oriah Mountaindreamer. Oriah Mountaindreamer. Well, she's a Canadian author and spiritual teacher, and she has written 5 best-selling books. They're all down in the show notes. And these books are focusing on personal growth, spirituality, and creativity. They are lovely books. Right. Oriah Mountaindreamer. That's a really unusual name. And, well, I was sure there's a story to it. And I researched a bit. And Oriah Mountaindreamer writes about her name on her website. And she explains how this name came to her. And this explanation is really exceptional and very lovely. So, in 1984, at the age of around 30, she was on the onset of severe chronic fatigue syndrome. And in that year, she had a dream in which she was told to change her name to Oriah as part of the healing process. Well, of course, she was a bit uneasy, of course, about changing her name. But she so much wanted to heal that she finally took the name Oriah. And then, 20 years later, it happened on a book tour, on 3 successive nights in 3 different cities, that she was told by people that Oriah means light of God, in Hebrew, that is. And also that it is an ancient Jewish custom to change a patient's name when doing a healing. And the reason for it is that, basically some new and healing energies should be invited by that new name. So that's for Oriah. But then there's also Mountaindreamer. And the name Mountaindreamer was given to her a year after taking the name Oriah. Still seeking healing, she went to a shamanic teacher who gave her the medicine name Mountaindreamer. It's a beautiful name, isn't it? Mountaindreamer. And the shaman told her that a medicine name tells someone what gifts they have to offer to the world. So Mountaindreamer means one who likes to find and push the edge. A bit challenging, isn't it? But to me, I can really see this finding and pushing the edge in the poem, which I would like to share with you. Finding and pushing the edge in the sense of how true to yourself can you be? How well can you know yourself? To what extent are you ready to share your true self with others? So this poem is very much about authenticity and showing up fully in life if you want. If you're curious by now, I shall read the poem to us. And here it goes. The invitation. It doesn't interest me what you do for a living. I want to know what you ache for, and if you dare to dream of meeting your heart's longing. It doesn't interest me how old you are. I want to know if you will risk looking like a fool for love, for your dream, for the adventure of being alive. It doesn't interest me what planets are squaring your moon. I want to know if you have touched the center of your own sorrow, if you have been opened by life's betrayals, or have become shriveled and closed from fear of further pain. I want to know if you can sit with pain, mine or your own, without moving to hide it, or fade it, or fix it. I want to know if you can be with joy, mine or your own, if you can dance with wildness and let the ecstasy fill you to the tips of your fingers and toes, without cautioning us to be careful, to be realistic, to remember the limitations of being human. It doesn't interest me if the story you're telling me is true. I want to know if you can disappoint another to be true to yourself. If you can bear the accusation of betrayal and not betray your own soul. If you can be faithless and therefore trustworthy. I want to know if you can see beauty even when it is not pretty every day. And if you can source your own life from its presence. I want to know if you can live with failure, yours and mine, and still stand at the edge of the lake and shout to the silver of the full moon, yes. It doesn't interest me to know where you live or how much money you have. I want to know if you can get up after the night of grief and despair, weary and bruised to the bone, and do what needs to be done to feed the children. It doesn't interest me who you know or how you came to be here. I want to know if you will stand in the center of the fire with me and not shrink back. It doesn't interest me where or what or with whom you have studied. I want to know what sustains you from the inside when all else falls away. I want to know if you can be alone with yourself and if you truly like the company you keep in these empty moments. Wow, it's a strong poem, I find. It's so full of passion. It's touching. It's absolutely grounding, taking us away from being mind-centered, and it's bringing us back to earth, isn't it? And it's also so challenging. And I think it's really pushing the edge. Do you think that it brings down your defenses? I think so, because it's really radical and impressive. And it poses so many questions, doesn't it? I want to know if. It doesn't ask, I would like to know if. No, it's about, I want to know if. And while I read, did you feel like answering these questions? Or did you think about asking these questions to somebody else? Because the way I see it, quite obviously, this poem is about self-inquiry. But it could also be about looking into a relation. Here comes an idea or an inspiration. If you feel like it, why not hear this poem again and try to answer what Oriah Mountaindreamer wants to know? And, well, I think we will need honesty for that. and self-love and courage. So, I hope you liked this English episode. Please do let me know. And if you're interested in which books I will talk about in the near future, please have a look at my website. You will find it in the show notes. There are lovely and interesting books to come, also with a couple of interviews. So it's worthwhile checking it out. Apart from that, have a lovely week. Warm wishes from the Dolomites. And as always, keep reading, keep rising. Ciao, ciao.